Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling how to build a successful marriage. But, and here's the twist, we're starting before you even meet the one.
Definitely starting in a unique spot.
Right. We're diving into Marriage Ethics for Singles by Pastor Faith Oyedepo.
Oh, I love this book.
Several of you sent it our way, and let me tell you, it is packed with wisdom. And one of the things that really struck me right off the bat was Oyedepo's focus on personal readiness.
Yes.
It's not about finding the perfect partner.
It's about you becoming the right person.
Yes. Before marriage even enters the picture.
100%.
It's like, have you ever tried to build something without a solid foundation?
Oh, disaster.
Total disaster.
Yeah.
And Oyedepo uses this analogy of singlehood as the time to build that strong foundation. You know, drawing closer to God, figuring out your passions, honing your skills.
Becoming a complete person.
Yes. Not expecting marriage to complete you.
Which so many people think that. Right. It's such a common misconception.
It really is. So it's more about, okay, what am I bringing to the table? How much stronger would our relationships be if we all focused on that?
That's what's so unique about this book, I think. It challenges that whole checklist mentality. It's not about, does he check these boxes? It's about, what am I bringing? How can I be a true equal?
Yes. Mutual growth,
Yeah.
not just checking boxes. And speaking of boxes, Oyedepo doesn't shy away from the topic of choosing a partner.
Of course not. That's important.
Right. But she goes beyond just the superficial.
Deeper.
Yes. She talks about spiritual, intellectual, and physical compatibility.
It's about aligning on those deeper levels, absolutely.
Yes.
And one story that really stood out to me was about this young woman who totally misread her boss's kindness for, romantic interests.
Been there. Misreading those signals.
Yeah. It just highlights how important clear communication is.
Yeah.
And, how dangerous assumptions can be.
Because we make them all the time, right?
All the time.
And it's so easy to get swept up in fleeting feelings.
The emotional side.
Yes. And Oyedepo brings us back down to earth with this one. A strong, lasting partnership needs a much deeper connection.
And that brings us to probably her biggest point, selflessness.
Okay.
Selflessness is huge.
Yeah.
But she takes it to a whole other level, comparing it to Christ's love for the church.
Wow. Okay. That's a powerful comparison. Tell me more about that.
So she talks about husbands being called to emulate that unconditional love. And wives, on the other hand, they embody selfless submission.
Okay.
Now, I know submission can be a loaded word,
It can be.
but in this context, she's talking about mutual respect and service.
Okay.
It challenges those old school power dynamics.
So it's less about one person being in charge
Mhm.
and more about prioritizing the good of the relationship.
Yes, putting the marriage first. And honestly, that's not always easy.
No, it's not.
It's about that willingness to sometimes make the less glamorous choice.
Yeah.
But that's what builds the strength.
It's like that saying, love is a verb. It's about action. But you know what else can make or break a relationship? Our words.
Oh, 100%. Words are powerful.
The words we use.
And she gives this really practical tip. Before you speak, she says, ask yourself, will these words benefit my spouse?
It's so simple,
It is.
but I bet most of us don't do it.
No.
It's about being mindful,
Yes.
recognizing that our words really do shape our relationships.
Yeah.
And, she doesn't just focus on, the heavy stuff. Oyedepo also talks about finding balance, and she uses the virtuous woman from Proverbs 31 as an example.
Oh, that's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just about being, a wife and a mother.
Right.
Which are both beautiful callings, of course.
Absolutely.
But she highlights that this woman was also a savvy businesswoman.
Okay.
She was out there
crushing it.
crushing it in all areas of life.
Yes. I love that. And it's funny because sometimes I think we get stuck in those boxes
Totally.
of what a good wife is or a successful woman is.
100%.
And Oyedepo's like, nope, we can be multifaceted.
It's about embracing those different roles.
Yeah.
And not losing yourself in the process.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier about how marriage shouldn't complete us.
Right.
We should be bringing all those pieces to the table.
All those passions.
Yes.
And you know what?
What's that?
That can get messy.
Life.
Life, marriage,
Right, yeah.
it's not always pretty, no matter how much we prepare.
Right.
And that's where her advice about seeking help really resonated with me.
Oh, that's huge.
Yes.
It's so often overlooked.
It is.
We think we have to have it all figured out.
Yes. And we're like, I got this.
Yeah, and she's like, no, reach out to people, to mentors.
Yes.
Pastors, counselors, that's wisdom.
It's like we think asking for help is admitting defeat.
Yes.
And it's not.
Not at all.
especially in a marriage. When you're trying to figure out life together,
Two people, different perspectives.
sometimes you just need that outside perspective.
Absolutely. And it's not always about fixing the problem. Right.
Sometimes it's just having that safe space to process,
Yes.
to gain clarity.
Yes.
And she tells this story about this woman who's dealing with her husband's irresponsibility.
Okay.
And get this, the solution starts with her.
What?
She's the one who needs to change her perspective.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
It's so easy to focus on what our partner should be doing.
Oh, yeah. Always easier to see their stuff.
Right. What if we flip the script?
What can I do?
Yes. How can I contribute to making this better?
Because you always have that power.
Wow.
Even when it feels like it's all on them,
Yeah.
you can choose how you respond.
I'm going to sit with that one for a minute.
The good one.
It's so easy to get stuck in the blame game.
It is,
Mm.
but that's not where change happens.
It's about taking responsibility.
Yes, owning your part.
Even when it's hard.
That's where it starts.
And you know what else can be so hard?
What's that?
Especially for singles.
Okay.
That pressure to get married.
Ooh, the pressure.
Ugh, don't even get me started. When are you going to settle down questions?
It's like everybody else has it figured out, and I'm just supposed to fall in line.
Right. Like there's some timeline.
Yes. It's so frustrating.
Did she address that?
She did.
Okay, good.
She did. And in such a wise way.
What'd she say?
She was like, know your purpose, set your goals.
Okay.
Don't be swayed by those external pressures.
It's your life.
It's about discerning God's timing for your life.
Yes, not someone else's.
Not your mom's, not your grandma's.
Right.
It's yours. And that is so freeing
It is. It takes the pressure off.
because it's so easy to look at everyone else's highlight reel.
Oh, yeah. Social media doesn't help.
Right. And be like, why isn't my life like that?
Comparison game is dangerous.
It is.
But you know it's not dangerous?
What's that?
Staying true to yourself,
Okay. I like that.
your own pace.
It takes courage, though.
It does. It takes courage to be different.
It does.
And you know what else takes courage?
Mm.
Marriage. Because it's work.
Oh, yeah. She does not sugarcoat that.
Nope, it's a continuous journey
It is.
of growth, of effort.
Yes.
And she uses that virtuous woman again here.
Oh, interesting.
She highlights her diligence and dedication,
Okay.
not just to her family, but to all areas of her life.
So it's like not just finding the right person. It's about being the right person.
Yes. And showing up every day.
Day after day, bringing your A game.
I love that. And a big part of that is honoring your spouse.
Oh, honoring your spouse, that's huge.
It is.
And not just with actions,
Right.
but with your words, too.
That's good.
Speaking well of them
Yes.
in public and in private.
Be their cheerleader, not their critic.
Because you know we all need that.
We do, especially from the person we're closest to.
100%. It's about building that safe and supportive space
Yes.
where they feel loved,
That's,
valued for who they are.
yes. That's what true honor is.
Building each other up, not tearing each other down.
And that takes conscious effort.
All the time. It's a choice.
It is.
And speaking of choices,
Yeah. She had a great story about disagreements. So she was disagreeing with her husband about where to send their kids to school.
ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right. And they had totally different opinions.
Well, I bet.
But ultimately, she chose to submit her desire and trust God to work it out.
Wow, that takes, I mean,
Humility.
humility. That's a lot.
It is. It's not easy.
No, especially when it's something you feel so strongly about.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when it comes to your kids.
Right. Like, I know what's best.
Yes, but it's about choosing peace.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Peace over proving a point.
Right, because then everybody wins, in a way.
Exactly. It's not about one person winning.
It's about finding that way forward together.
Yes, and sometimes that requires compromise.
It does. And, you know, speaking of things that can be challenging in a marriage,
Okay, what's that?
Oyedepo also addresses navigating those differences in faith.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Specifically, when you're married to someone who doesn't share your beliefs.
Dealing with an unbelieving spouse.
Yes. I imagine that adds a whole other level of complexity.
It does, but you know what she says more important than words?
Oh.
Is the Christian's character.
Oh, interesting.
That's what's going to win them over, she says.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. It's about letting your own life be a testament to your faith.
It takes a lot of strength to live that out, though.
It does, day after day. And she also really emphasizes prayer
Okay.
and personal reflection in those situations.
Because sometimes the change needs to start with us.
There it is again.
Right. Like that story we talked about?
With the husband who is irresponsible.
Yes. Where it seemed like he was the problem, But God's solution started with his wife.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. Okay. So much good stuff in this book.
So much wisdom.
This deep dive has given me so much to think about.
Me too. Me too. She just lays it all out there.
She does. Oyedepo's words about personal responsibility, selflessness, honoring your spouse.
Timeless.
Yes. It doesn't matter if you're single, dating, or married.
It's for everybody.
It applies to all of us.
Absolutely. And I hope our listeners are picking up on that.
Me too. This is a good one.
It was. And if there's one thing I want them to walk away with, it's this: you have the power to create the marriage you desire.
Okay.
But it starts with you.
Yes.
Your growth.
Show up as your best self.
Yes. Be that person.
Beautifully said. And on that note, listeners, here's something to ponder. What's one area you could focus on improving in yourself that would have a ripple effect on your current or future relationships? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations flowing.